From the Russ Center for Media in downtown Cape Girardeau, welcome to Focus on Southeast, a program on issues, events, and people impacting Southeast Missouri State University. I'm Dan Woods with KRCU Public Radio. On today's show, we'll get a preview of the spring 2025 season at the River Campus and learn more about the new STAMP Cyber Command Center. Our first guest is Dr. Sarah Dietrich. She is a faculty member in the English department here at SEMO and co-coordinator of the TESOL program. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
So tell us about TESOL, and that's teaching English to speakers of other languages, right?
Exactly. So that means working with anybody who grew up speaking a language other than English. So that could be somebody who was born in Cape Girardeau and spoke Spanish at home. When they go to school, they start learning English. Could be someone who immigrates to the U.S. With their family in high school. Could be a refugee, adult, and it could be somebody all over the world because, fun fact, English is spoken as a second or additional language by more people than speak it as a first language. So people all over the world study English, starting in first grade all the way up through adults. So, yeah. And my job is, or TESOL's job is to work with and train the teachers who teach those courses.
Okay. So what do students do in the program? What the courses look like, and what does it look like for the students who take the courses?
Great question. So first of all, just a little bit about the students in the program. Okay. We have students who come from other countries to Cape Girardeau to take the classes, some people who live in the area who take classes. We also have people all over Missouri and all over the country and then all over the world who are in our classes. Wow. So our classes are actually, some of the classes are 100% online, and then the rest of them are what we call high flex, which means that people have the option. They can either come to the classroom, or they can join on Zoom, or they can also complete the courses asynchronously too. And so having that Zoom option makes it a little more complicated, but it also makes it much more interesting because, for example, I have this semester I had a student who is from the United States, but he's in China, and he would join us at 11 o'clock at night for him and join our class. Or we had people from Vietnam who would, I found out there are 24-hour coffee shops in Vietnam. I did not realize that because the students were joining us in the middle of the night for them.
Oh, wow.
But as far as what people study, it's really linking theory and practice. So for example, one of the courses I taught this semester was on second language acquisition. So we talk about how do people learn second language. And the assignment for that course, the students work with someone who has learned English as a second language and ask them about their experience. So they're learning the theories, but then they're getting a chance to apply them. Or another course I taught this semester is about how to teach English grammar. Which is a lot more fun than it sounds, actually. But for that course, again, the graduate students were working with undergraduates in El Salvador. They worked one-on-one on Zoom. And so they really got a chance to teach grammar and then reflect on what they were learning in the class. So those are just some examples.
Is it challenging teaching on Zoom as opposed to being person-to-person for the program?
It is. It's different. It's not my favorite, but it makes, again, as I said, it makes interactions possible that wouldn't happen otherwise. So in that way, it's really great because we might have students who are from the Cape Girardeau area who are getting to interact with people all over the world who they wouldn't meet otherwise. So it's not optimal, but the students are real troopers, and part of what I'm doing too is preparing future teachers. So I'm able to model for them what their own classrooms might look like in the future too.
Yeah. So let's talk about job opportunities, advancement opportunities. What kind of things would be available for students who complete the program?
I'm glad you asked that because there are a lot of different directions people could go. We have, for example, several of our graduates are in leadership positions in the Cape Girardeau Public Schools now. People who are teaching in, as I said, in Greater St. Louis. And actually, I was talking to somebody who mentioned that one of the largest demands for jobs in St. Louis right now is for ESL teachers. So if anybody's interested in a job, that's a good direction to go. So people could work in public schools. They could also work in what are called intensive English programs. So that's for people who usually are adults and want to work on their English in the United States. We have one of those here at SEMO. They could also teach abroad too. So it's a good opportunity for people who want a chance to explore a little bit outside of the United States. As I mentioned, we have students all over the world. This semester, I think I was working with 4 or 5 people from the U.S., but who are teaching in Korea right now. And so they're having a cultural and linguistic experience and developing professionally too.
And you've been teaching a class with folks in Kurdistan in northern Iraq. Talk about that just a little bit. That's really interesting.
I have been, and that's what I was thinking about when you talked about Zoom, because I wouldn't be working with them if it weren't for Zoom.
Yeah.
So it's part of a program that is facilitated, organized by the U.S. State Department. The U.S. State Department works with people all over the world with different projects that are related to teaching English and learning English. And so the people that I'm working with are all activists. They work, many of them, with gender-based violence, with women's rights, and in their work, they work with international people, so they need to use English. And so this course is a chance for them to strengthen their English, to practice their English. And we meet twice a week for an hour and a half each time and meet on Zoom. And it's been fun because I've had a chance to invite different guest speakers. So I've had some friends from who are professionals in gender-based violence here in Cape Girardeau, for example, who've been guest speakers. So we're not just practicing English, but also making connections with people all over the world, which is fun.
Yeah. What do you find most rewarding with your job?
I always say it's the people. You know, I learned so much from everybody, from people who grew up, you know, an hour from Cape Girardeau, from people who grew up on the other side of the world. They just teach me new ways of thinking about things and new ways of doing things. And it's fun for me to really be challenged to listen to people and try to create a space where they can tell me and tell their classmates about each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the program growth like? Has it been growing over the years as you've been here?
It's been pretty steady. It changes a little bit. For example, the countries that people come from, international students come from, changes. When I first got here, there were a lot of Chinese students. Now we have a lot of students from Bangladesh and a lot of students from Vietnam. But there's really is a steady need for ESOL teachers all over the world. So,
Well, Sarah, it's been very good to talk with you.
Well,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
being here.
Thanks so much for the invitation. It's been fun.
Yes. Well, when we come back, we're going to be joined by Dr. Mario Garcia to find out more about the STAMP Cyber Command Center. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We'll be right back.
Losing the fear of looking foolish comes with age.
Who did you steal him from?
Losing your way in your own home doesn't. Confusion with time and place may be a sign of Alzheimer's.
Mom, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's.
Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. SEMO recently held a ribbon cutting to dedicate its new Charles Stamp Cyber Command Center, a cybersecurity training facility built in collaboration with IBM. Dr. Mario Garcia is the director of the Institute for Cybersecurity, and he joins me now to tell us all about this new command center. Welcome to the program again.
Thank you for the invitation and this opportunity to share with our community the news about this state-of-the-art Charles Stamp Cyber Command Center.
Yeah, I was there for the ribbon cutting. It's very impressive. Talk about what the command center is and what it can do for our community.
Yes, well, I'm going to use an analogy with a flight simulator.
Okay.
It is what we have, but now focus on cybersecurity. We have the analogy of a flight simulator where our students, primarily our students and our community, will learn how to defend a computer network when it's under attack. We have, in collaboration with IBM, Also, we partner with a company that is called Cloud Range, and we have access to 1,500 training programs from very beginning programs where the students are given instructions on how to do a hands-on lab. The second level is the students or people training in our Cyber Command Center are given a problem without instructions. But the third level is there are problems that are so complex, so difficult, that the students need to work in teams. And this is where we are going to use this beautiful facility with this 21 by 9 feet screen. So students there working concurrently, they can analyze an attack and break the attack in parts so that they can eventually find what's happening. So that's what we are going to be offering to the community in 4 different levels of training.
Yeah, we've got some of the pictures up now, Dr. Garcia. It's a very impressive facility, and as you note, it's not just for students, but area businesses and organizations have the opportunity to utilize this space too, right?
Right. That picture was our cyber defense team. Well, what I described, the 3 different levels of complexity in this flight simulator, or in this case, cybersecurity simulator, we can give the same training to the community. This level of training is going to be specialized to IT people with knowledge in computer science and cybersecurity. It's a very high level of training for IT people in hospitals and other business. But in addition to that, we have other programs that will be using the Cyber Command Center. One example is for veterans and people in the community also. We are going to offer certificates in cybersecurity. And right now, the country has a demand of 750,000 cybersecurity jobs. Some of those jobs require a bachelor, but many of those jobs, they don't require a bachelor. They require a very specific set of skills, and is what we are planning to offer to veterans, police officers, nurses, specific certificates like in ethical hacking, network security, computer forensics. Another area that we are going to start offering is for companies, CEOs, or business. And this is not technical. It's how a CEO, how a business is going to respond when the company is under a cyber attack. Is there a plan to respond? When are we going to communicate with the press? When are we going to communicate of the attack with the FBI? And the final program, this is very important because this is just for the community in general, creating cybersecurity awareness. And we develop a set of programs starting from elementary school students, how to prevent cyberbullying or sexual predators. So from elementary school students, middle school students, high school students, teachers, and the community in general. But this is just creating cybersecurity awareness, especially for the senior people that is the main target of hackers.
So there's a lot of different aspects to what's going to be going on as part of all of this. With cybersecurity, as you said, there's a lot of job opportunities, and so there's training for everybody. We're all touched by this every day, whether we, on our phones, we're banking or sending a message. As hackers are always out there trying to find ways to break into computers and servers and things, right?
Right. Yesterday, we have the honor to host 60 of the state representatives that visit the Cyber Command Center. And we were showing a live picture of the daily attacks that the United States has. And to the 5 o'clock, we had 13 million live attacks just in one day. So that's why the need of cybersecurity is everywhere. In the United States, 750,000 jobs. Worldwide is 4 million jobs. So it's an area that is going to start increasing the demand on jobs. And as I said, some of them are very specific for bachelor degrees, but many of those, and this is a good news for people that are looking for a job, they can receive training, 2 months training, and they will be ready to have one of those jobs.
So this was in collaboration with IBM. How did the IBM partnership work? What did IBM do as part of this?
Well, this is an interesting story. Well, the Cyber Command Center is the result of a $1.9 million MOEXCEL grant from the government of Missouri for workforce development and creating cybersecurity awareness in the community. And we have Mr. Charles Stamp contribute to another $1 million. That's the collaboration with IBM. When President Vargas, 3 years ago, when he informed me of these $1.9 million, he asked me to present a project to create a center with these specifications. And I found that IBM were doing some of this work in Cambridge. And there are 7 facilities like ours in the world. So that's the way it started, the project with IBM.
And this is the only one west of the Mississippi, right, I think?
This is the only one west of the Mississippi. But in education, there are only 7 in the world.
In the world, right. Wow, amazing. Well, Dr. Garcia, it's always good to talk with you, and we'll have you back soon because there's so many things we could talk about related to cybersecurity. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get a preview of the spring semester at the River Campus. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We'll be right back.
Losing the fear of looking foolish comes with age.
Who did you steal them from?
Losing your way in your own home doesn't. Confusion with time and place may be a sign of Alzheimer's.
Mom, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's.
Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. Our final guest today is Dean Rhonda-Weller Stilson. She's here to talk all things River Campus, the upcoming season, about performances, and much, much more. Hey, Rhonda, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so let's do a little bit of a preview of the spring semester. What are some of the, we
Sure.
can't talk about everything, of course, but what are some of the highlights?
There are so many. We get back from the holiday break and we jump right in. And so we start off with the opera in January, and that will be Hansel and Gretel this
That's a
year.
good
So
one.
yeah, I think a lot of people will really enjoy
Yeah.
that one. And that'll run for a couple of nights. And then we'll get into February, and we're start February doing something very strange or different for us.
Okay.
And that is working with athletics on the Rowdy birthday party bash.
that will be fun, too.
So we're going to have a Holland College tailgate, and we'll have face painting and photo booths and all of that kind of thing. So hopefully people will come
Yeah.
and see us at the basketball game
Yeah.
on the 1st. And then we're going to jump right into performances after that, and exhibitions and all types of things.
There's a lot of things always happening down at River Campus. Talk about experiential learning opportunities. I know trips that the students go on, there's so many things that go beyond just being here on campus, right? Talk about some of those opportunities.
Correct. So, well, like this fall, we took the marching band to the Band of America Regional Festival, and that was in St. Louis. And then in April, we're going to take the jazz band, and not the whole band, but select students for that. And we're going to go to New Orleans, and we're going to recruit and let our students experience jazz in New Orleans. So that's a great example.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, we take our students off campus,
Yeah.
but everything we do on campus is experiential learning.
Yeah.
So when our patrons come, they're actually helping our students learn how to deal with audiences of large sizes, small sizes, in different spaces. So every concert we do, everything is experiential.
Yeah. Talk about the program growth and how things have changed. I know it seems like you have more and more and more majors coming along. It just continues to just expand, right?
It does, and they're coming from all over the world, so we're very excited that we've become a destination program. And we've got students coming from California and Texas and Alaska, New York, Florida, Puerto Rico, I'm trying to think of all the other places, Norway, so just all over are coming to our programs. And you know, people who live here don't realize that people from all over are coming to Cape to study theater, dance, music, and the arts, and then they're going to go back to their homes in California, New York, and practice what they learn here.
Because of the successes that you've had, is it help with recruiting, make recruiting easier when you talk to students? Do you have more of a situation where, oh, I've heard about you guys, I've heard about the River Camp? I mean, it probably helps, right?
Definitely. We're still what I call a hidden jewel.
Oh, okay.
And we don't want to be hidden, but we do have a lot more people when we go out and recruit saying, I've heard about you. And then when they get called back at a conference, they'll say, oh, I got called back by the Dobbins Conservatory at Southeast. So people are really starting to take notice of what we're doing here.
That's good. One of the things I wanted to have time to ask you about, and I think we will, is the Lanford Wilson Play Festival.
Yes.
It's been here, it's been a few years, but it seems to me that's another one of our things that's continued to really just grow, and it's great experience for students, right?
It has, and last year we had almost 1,000 entries for plays. So that festival brings playwrights from all over to Cape to work with our students in the summer and master guest artists. And then what we do is we select 5 out of that 1,000 entries.
Only 5 out of 1,000?
Yes,
That's a tough job.
There's a lot of reading going on. And we pick 5, and then whichever play, I don't want to call it the winner because they're all winners,
Yeah.
but the one that we think will do best in our next season gets produced. So this year we're going to be doing Girlhood, and Girlhood is about 7 teenagers getting ready for their debutante ball. And so the playwright will be here working with the students, and they'll keep revising the script all the way up until the week of Tech and Dress. And so students get the opportunity to see what it's like to get a new play on its feet.
I remember this whenever, it's been a couple of years ago, Kit Lavoie was here and one of the students involved with it. And the student talked about script changes, I mean, all the time, right up until curtain.
Constantly.
I was just amazed. What talent to be able to adapt that quickly.
Right, new lines.
All the time.
Yes. So yeah, it's a wonderful experience for our students because, you know, typically we get a play script and they'll have it for all these months and they'll be studying it, working on it, and it stays the same. But with this situation, that playwright is like, ooh, that line doesn't work. Cross it out, let's do this one instead.
And that's probably more true to what really happens.
Yes,
Right.
yes. So if you are going out and doing regional theater, working in New York or someplace that's doing bringing a show to Broadway, you're going to be constantly adapting a play.
I'm still just amazed because, you know, when if you've ever done any kind of plays, I used to do some in church when I was younger. You learn all the lines and then you hope you don't forget them. But imagine you think you got it down pat and they're like, oh yeah, well that page, gone.
Yes.
Script, you know, you have to erase that from your brain.
The students are fast on their feet.
That's a good thing. So what are some of the other things you're looking forward to in the spring semester? I know there's exhibits that are going to be happening. What are some other things we might just make a
In
note
the
of?
spring, we have, of course, the high school art exhibition, which is the 47th.
That's big.
And we have students from all over the region, and it's wonderful to see what high school students are doing.
Right.
And then later, we'll have our own juried show for our students, and that'll be in the Chris Museum. And then the final show in the museum are the BFA students, their final exhibitions. And then we've got symphonies, we have the Fault Line Film Festival, theater and dance will be doing Into the Woods and Godspell. I don't know if I mentioned, also in February we have the dance concert. So the annual dance concert where students choreograph and
that's
faculty
in February, yeah.
choreograph, and we'll have guest artists for that too. So something for everyone.
Into the Woods, we did that several years ago. Is that,
We
am I thinking right?
did, yes, we did. It's Stephen Sondheim, so you know we want our students to have a Sondheim
He's
experience.
big right now with Wicked.
Yes, definitely. And I would say it's been about 10, 12 years. And
that
so
long?
none of our students have worked on it. So we're going to do that. And then, of course, Godspell is always a crowd favorite.
Let me ask you about Fault Line too, because that's continued to grow, and that's another good opportunity for students to have some of their visions sort of come to
Absolutely.
life.
Yes. So that one, it's mass media students, theater students, music students can be involved doing scores. And students will make a film, typically in that 10-minute range.
Yeah.
And then they'll get to enter it in our festival. And they're competing with people from all the way to Boston before and Utah. And so our students will be having a venue to show their work and to compete. And it's really a great opportunity.
Let's talk about maybe some graduates that come to your mind. I'm going to put you on the spot here that have graduated. What are some of the things some of our students are doing out in the real world now with their degrees from SEMO?
Our students are everywhere and they're doing everything possible. If you think about, if you watch things on Hulu or Apple, that content is created from people in our college. And so our students, they're doing all types of things. They're behind the cameras, they're in front of the cameras, they're on cruise ships. We've got students designing on Broadway. We have students working shows like The Masked Singer in California. And they're dancing on ships that are going all around the world. They're working on a new Cirque du Soleil in Mexico. So students are truly everywhere. You'll find them in New York writing for I think it's Wine and Food or something like that, one of those magazines.
Wow.
And that's one of our majors as well. So one of our alums.
They're
Great
SEMO,
successes.
they're everywhere.
They are. They
That's
are.
wonderful. Well, a lot of exciting things happening. We are so glad you were able to join us and fill us in on what to look forward to next semester.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rhonda. All right, Focus on Southeast is a collaboration of KRCU Public Radio and the Department of Mass Media here at Southeast Missouri State University. And just a reminder that portions of these conversations will be broadcast on KRCU Public Radio. They'll also be available online at krcu.org and on the station's YouTube channel. From the Russ Center for Media, I'm Dan Woods. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when we focus on Southeast.